This is the scenario. You're at work one day and you notice that you're feeling a little lightheaded and sweaty. You get up to go to the bathroom because you've been urinating a lot lately. You pass out in the bathroom. 20 minutes later, your coworkers come and they find you collapsed and unconscious on the floor of the bathroom. They call 911, they rush you to the doctor. Next thing you know, you wake up. You got tubes in your arms. They're filling you with fluids. The doctor comes in and they say, Mr. Johnson, Miss Johnson, did you know that you were a diabetic? And you say, no, I didn't know I was a diabetic. And they say, did you know diabetes ran in your family? You say, no, I didn't know diabetes ran in my family. But all of a sudden you get this new diagnosis. The next day you're discharged from the hospital with a bag full of pills and told to come back in 4 weeks. And so you go and you start doing your Google search and try to find out as much information as you can about your new diagnosis, diabetes. Let's go and have a second opinion. So, diabetes. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to talk about something called epidemiology. What is epidemiology? It's the facts surrounding a disease or a disease entity. So, did you know that 10% of the American population are diabetic? I believe that number has risen to maybe 13%. But the numbers are around 10%. We got 330 million people in our country. So what does that mean? That means that 33 million people are diabetic. Also, there's a term called prediabetes that we're going to be talking about. I hate this term because if you tell somebody they're pre-diabetic, they're going to believe that somehow they're not diabetic. But if you're a pre-diabetic, you're a diabetic waiting to happen, and you need to take all the precautions that a diabetic would take. So we're going to talk about pre-diabetes, or so-called pre-diabetes. Okay? Now, diabetes is primarily a disease of adulthood, meaning that it happens primarily in adults. But what we're finding lately is that it's also seen more and more in children and teenagers, okay? Now, what is diabetes and how does it occur? Diabetes is a dysfunction. It's a metabolic dysfunction. And it's a dysfunction of B cells of the pancreas. And it's also a metabolic dysfunction related to something called insulin resistance. So, I want you to say B cells of pancreas dysfunction or decline and insulin resistance. Okay? Now, insulin resistance is almost always secondary to obesity. So one of the things we've been focusing on in the community is weight loss and health and nutrition. And we're going to talk a little bit about that later if we don't do an edit and put it at the beginning of this information. Because we need to talk about some weight loss and fitness goals that'll help you if you find yourself in either this pre-diabetic state or in the diabetic state. Okay?